Hello, we are on the audience overview section in Google Analytics, and I'm going to show you and I'm going to explain you basically almost every number and every single corner of this screen. So the purpose of this lecture is that if you have really steady understanding of what the data are you seeing, you'll be able to perform really quality analysis based on your Google Analytics data. And we'll start with of the top of the screen. Here we have audience overview, and this is the title of the section we are currently on. And also we have option to export and to share the information. And of course, when you export or share the information, then you have the information for this calendar here from the 1st of September to 30 of November. And you could change this by just clicking the date you want and then go apply. And here, of course, the data will be exported for the period you have selected. Let's say I can type some email here. Let's say test@test.com, and then I can type whatever text I want here as a message, and I can choose whether it will be a PDF, Excel, or CSV, or I can select to be every month, and let's say every 23rd of the month, and I'll just click send, and it will send me every 23rd of the month this report with this data. Now, what else we have? We have this big graph in the center, and basically it shows us sessions, as you can see, and you can adjust the sessions to be on hourly basis, on daily basis. It was set by default on weekly basis, which is more broader look at the data, and etc. We have monthly, and of course from here you can select whether you want to see sessions, or you can also choose page views, bounce rate, or users. Let's say if I select users, it will show me the data for the users that visited my website. And also I can select a secondary metric, which could be, let's say, bounce rate. Here you can see that the list is similar like the previous drop down, and I can select bounce rate, and now it will show me two graphs. The darker blue are the visitors, and the lighter is the bounce rate. And the idea of this option to mix your graphs and to mix the data on the graph is to be able to perform some analysis. You can see this spot here, this week from November 19 to November 25. We have really closer distance between these two graphs, which is kind of unusual, because usually you expect when you have more visitors to have higher bounce rate, because the bounce rate is actually the percentage of people who left the site since visiting just one page, and you usually expect that if you higher the amount of visitors, the quality will fall down and you have a bigger bounce rate. And here we see the opposite thing, and it's a strong signal that we need to see what exactly happened in this week and what send us such a quality traffic, so we can do some efforts to increase the traffic from these sources that bringing traffic between November 19th and November 25. And this is the reason we are able to mix the data. If you want to clean your graph, you can just press this X button here and we'll remove the secondary graph. One more thing we should look is above the graph. It's so-called segments, and the idea of segments is some kind of similar of the idea of this second graph, except you have the option to add 4 segments. Let's say I can add direct traffic, and I can also add new users, and let's select organic traffic. I'll click apply. We'll have the data as mixed as previous experiment we have seen with the secondary metric, but the difference is that all the data down the page and along the page is changed. We have all the data 4 times. It's one for the users, one for the direct traffic in orange, users for the new users in green, and in purple we have the organic traffic. And we can also search for some relations between the changes of the data. So this is very powerful instrument. And also, if we click on the left sidebar, if we choose another option, this will stay as it is, and we will have always comparison between these 4 metrics. And this is actually very powerful instrument. You can you can look at the data. If I want to turn back for just one metric, I can remove the rest of this, and I will leave the graph as it was. Let me just do this. You should decide which are the important segments for your website, and basically you have a list. Let me just open one more time the list with the segments. You have a variety of pre-built segments, and of course there are system pre-built. There are really a lot, and I'm going to advise you to follow one of these if you are starter with Google Analytics, or you could build custom ones as I have done, but it's a bit complicated for new users. And you have shared, started, or the selected. You can see we have all users selected now only, and I'll just press cancel now. Below the graph you have these 7 quadrants of information. You have sessions, which basically means the visits by all the users. Let's say if you have one user visited your website 2 times today, these are 2 sessions. And here you have unique users, which means that this one user will be counted as one user. And you have page views, which means that if this user visits your website and look at 5 pages, you have here the data plus 5 pages visited. Also, you have pages per session, which is the number of pages divided by the number of sessions, and you have average session duration, which is the average amount of time user visited your site per one session. And usually Google Analytics count a session for maximum 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, you start another session, no matter you are the same user on the same website and looking the same pages. It's just preset. You can change this duration if you have longer content. Let's say if you host movies, then maybe make more sense to increase the session. What Google Analytics understand on the session, you can make it more than an hour or more than an hour and a half, depending on what kind of movies are you hosting. Then we have bounce rate. As already explained, bounce rate is the percentage of people that leave your website from the first page they have visited. After they visit the second page, they're count as no bouncing users. If they leave your website, they are bouncing users. You can see I have 53% bounce rate, which means that 53 people from 100 just leaving my Udemy course Profit Detector from its first page, from the page they land. And we have the percentage of new sessions, which means that these are completely new session for the concrete user. And we have on the right side new visitors with returning visitors, which is one of the signals for reality. And you can understand that if you have a lot of returning visitors, you have a higher engagement with your audience, and you have better better data to make some kind of marketing activity on your audience. Down on the page we have uh, two sides. On the left you have the options, and on the right you have the data for each option. Let's say now we are on the language. It represents the language which is kind of system language. This is not necessarily the language of the person that it's from the other side of the screen. It's language for for his or she system. And you have also country, and you see that the data here will change. I have most visitors from India, second country is United States, Pakistan, Thailand, etc., Bulgaria, Canada, and I have the number of sessions and the percentage of sessions, and I have also city. We have null set, which means that Google cannot tell us which exactly city users from. And on second place we have Sofia. It's the capital of Bulgaria. I'm from Bulgaria, and I have marketed my course Profit Detector a lot in my country. So normally I have a lot of visitors from Sofia. Then I have Bangkok, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Ho Chi Minh City, Singapore, Mumbai, Karachi, Salt Lake City, and etc. Next you have system information, like what kind of browser they use, and it's very useful because if you have your own website, in this case I'm on Udemy, so I don't have much control of this, but if you have your website, then you'll find that, let's say you have a higher bounce rate from Firefox or Safari, and that's the way you understand you have some problem, your website is could just crashes on these browsers or other information for the user experience since the system requirements. Then you have operating system, and the data you can use in the same way. You can see how performing the users that are using Windows, Android, Macintosh, iOS, Linux, etc. And you have service provider, which is internet provider of your um, your users. And then you have a section with mobile information, which is similar to the system section. You have operating systems. In my case, the most users use Android, and the second one is iOS. And you have service provider, which is basically the internet provider, and of course the screen resolution, which is very helpful if you are offering some kind of mobile apps and data for mobile users. You can see what kind of screen resolution they use, and if they interact differently. Let's say if they have a smaller screen resolution, like have 440 736, then maybe these users are experiencing some problems with bigger images or other data on your website, which is hard for them to browse, and you can improve your website. Basically, when you click on each of these data, you get more deeper look and more information about it, but this will observe in the next lectures. For now, it's very important to really observe by yourself all the data on the overview screen in audiences, so it will be easier for us to get deeper in